didn't see it come in. Welcome to episode 1 of Second Look. In this series, we're going to be discussing retro games as implied by my cleverly named show. There were other show names on the table, but none of them quite made the cut. In Second Look, I talk about games that I played maybe once or twice, but never really gave it a full chance. In this series, we're going to replay the game and see if it did deserve a second look. Today we're talking about Toonstruck, a game I don't remember fondly from my childhood because I was never allowed to play it. Can't really blame my parents based on the cover of the game. The European cover is even scarier. I rediscovered this game a couple years ago, and I have got to say, this game is so crass. Toonstruck is a point-and-click adventure game, half FMV and half cartoon. If I had to compare it to anything, I'd have to compare it to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You're playing a grown man in an interactive cartoon world. Alright, let's start out with some basic reasons as to why you might like Toonstruck. Do you like snot? Do you like Christopher Lloyd?
I'm so dead!
Do you like Tim Curry?
No. No.
Do you like goofy yet completely lovable characters?
2, 3, 4! Bippity bip bip bippity ba! Bip boop bip boop bippity ba!
If you liked 3 out of those 4 reasons I just rattled off, then you might actually like Toonstruck. Or you might despise it. Honestly, with a game like this, it could go either way. Developed by Burst Studios and published by Virgin Interactive in 1996, Toonstruck is an incredibly well-made, albeit a bit wacky, adventure game. It wasn't very successful due to the rise of 3D games, but it has its own unique charm and is now somewhat of a cult classic. It stars the ever-eccentric Christopher Lloyd as children's show animator Drew Blank, and yes, that's supposed to be a pun. Honestly, the quirky humor is why I was so drawn to the game. Drew works on a show called the Fluffy Fluffy Bun Bun Show, which stars a sugary cute pink bunny played by Tress MacNeille.
That's me!
Drew is pretty fed up with his job and he's tired of drawing cutesy crud all the time. He's been secretly working on another character named Flux Wildly. Yes, Christopher Lloyd created a character named Flux Wildly. If you don't get that reference, maybe you need to go back to the past to figure it out. However, Drew's boss, played by Ben Stein, doesn't care for Flux Wildly and instructs Drew to keep bringing on the cute bunnies.
Here's how I see it. We create a big batch of happy, cute bunnies to share the spotlight with Bun Bun. It's an all-new show and we call it Fluffy and Friends.
Frustrated, Drew goes back to his studio where he suffers from what seems to be writer's block and exhaustion and dozes off. When he wakes up, he finds drawn to his TV screen and is somehow sucked into Cutopia, the world he created for the Fluffy Fluffy Bun Bun Show. Once in Cutopia, Drew meets up with his own character creation, Flux. They soon find out that something is afoot in the land of Cutopia. And here it is! Wait, no, sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant that something appears to be wrong in the land of Cutopia. And hey, don't knock the foot, man. Once you bruise a foot's ego, it takes forever for them to heal. The king, who looks like a giant lemon head, informs them that an evil character named Nefarious, voiced by the king of cult entertainment himself, Tim Curry,
That's Count Nefarious to you, little man. Master of the Malevolence.
has been doing something more sinister than anyone could ever imagine. He's turning everything, even remotely cute and lighthearted, into morose, dark drabness. Wait a second, is that really so bad? Oh, hi. Welcome to Pushing Up Roses Reviews. Today we're talking about Morrissey. I don't see the point though. Life is so bleak. Okay, yeah, I see their point.
My brave spies have stolen the blueprints for Nefarious's bad machine. My royal engineer is using these plans to build a cutifier, a device which will reverse the damage Nefarious has done.
Drew agrees to help the king solve the issue in return for a safe way back into his own dimension with Flux Wildly at his side, whom you can use to solve certain puzzles. It seems the only way to fix this is to follow this fine fellow's advice.
Wonderful! Welcome to Team Happy! Let me show you what I've been working on.
Upon further inspection of the blueprints, I must admit Professor Whackjob may not know what he's talking about, but it seems better than nothing. So Drew's job is to now find all of the things that make sense to the blueprint. However, you're not supposed to find the exact things on the blueprint. You have to find their missing parts. For example, the corresponding item to whistles is bells. Bells and whistles. The majority of the game is Drew walking around talking to characters in an attempt to solve inventory-styled puzzles. You'll meet a lot of memorable and zany characters, all of whom have talented voice actors and actresses playing them. There's a scarecrow, a weightlifting bulldog, a barn full of friendly barnyard animals, a pair of musical frogs, a talking shamrock, and of course, Fluffy Bun Bun, who seems to be having somewhat of a mental crisis due to their current problem with Nefarious.
That nasty man is ruining everything! Just look at my meadow! Nasty, nasty, nasty!
The game, though very cartoony and packed with cutesy characters, is very adult-like in content. There's a lot of adult humor in this game despite its deceptive graphics. Things really start to get weird in the game after a few characters and their respective settings get decutified. Oh my god, there used to be a horse in that barn. Now there's an inauspicious machine spewing out jars of glue. What's going on here? Oh my god. Make it stop. Make it stop!
Whip my cream!
Seriously, the game has some incredibly R-rated moments. The inventory puzzles are pretty challenging too, and I'll admit to spending quite a long amount of time trying to figure them out. At one point, I did resort to clicking everything on everything, which is a classic Moon Logic puzzle move. You're also going to notice that you're collecting some damn strange inventory. My suggestion is to think outside the box when you're trying to figure out how to move forward in the game. Try to think more like Professor Cabbage Brains over here. He seems to have a good grasp on things.
Oh! Okay!
I don't want to give away too much of the game because there is a rather interesting twist, which I'll admit I didn't see coming. This is a game that you'll want to play through to the end. Even though this game didn't do very well due to the rise of 3D graphics and the fall of adventure games, I still liked the game. It was obviously very well made, and the extremely impressive voice acting actually does a good job of keeping my attention during a very dialogue-heavy game. Yes, the puzzles can be frustrating. I'll admit I never thought I would have to use a fish on a toilet, but I wouldn't say the puzzles are downright impossible. If you know what you're doing, you could probably beat it in a 3-hour sitting, but if you really want to experience the game, put away the walkthroughs and hint guides and try to figure out the puzzles yourself. The game is very cinematic, ironic, funny, gross, and manages to be engaging at the same time. You're also going to notice a lot of related things, like the fact that Toonstruck is a lot like Roger Rabbit and Christopher Lloyd appeared in both. The fact that Flux Wildly has a name similar to the flux capacitor in Back to the Future, and the fact that the actress who plays Babs, a pink bunny, also plays Fluffy Bun Bun, a pink bunny. It's very hard to believe that these things were not premeditated, and if they weren't, then they're pretty big coincidences. The game contained less material than it originally planned to use, so there were plans to make a sequel. As I understand, there are some legal issues to pick through at the moment, but Toonstruck fans eagerly await the announcement for Toonstruck 2. And I myself admit I'd love another bizarre game like Toonstruck to spend a lazy afternoon with. In conclusion, this game was definitely worth a second look. This has been Pushing Up Roses for a second look. Maybe you'll come back for another soul-crushing review, but until then, I hope you have a terrifyingly dark night. Now please leave! I need to be alone with my mind. The only thing that truly understands me.